Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's version of TechRise. My name is Stephen Shaw. I'm the Community Engagement Director at Verizon and co-founder of TechRise. I have the privilege of sitting in for my friend and co-founder, Desiree Vargas Wrigley. Desiree is also the Chief Innovation Officer of P33 and our leader and executive director at TechRise. For those of you who have been with us, you make this appointment viewing on Fridays. Welcome back. For those unfamiliar with TechRise, we are an initiative founded in collaboration with P33 and Verizon, and we seek to support our BIPOC and our women tech entrepreneurs by providing the capital, the knowledge, and the connections they need to grow and scale their ventures. We deploy our capital through a series of weekly pitch competitions, and these competitions can award so there are 3 to 5 founders that compete every week, and they can win somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000 of non-dilutive funding. So far, this is season 3 of TechRise, and so in our first couple of years, we've had over 200 founders grace our TechRise stage. And after pitching on TechRise, these founders have gone on to raise almost $50 million in follow-on funding. So TechRise, we have certainly made our mark in Chicago and playing a leading role in making Chicago one of the best, if not the best market in the country for our Black and Latin technology founders. So here's how today's going to go. We have 5 fantastic founders who are going to pitch. They're going to have 4 minutes to pitch. Then they will receive some questions by our wonderful panel of judges that I will introduce in just a second. 4 minutes to pitch, 4 minutes of Q&A. And once we go through that 5 times, we'll have a guest speaker while our judges deliberate. So with no further ado, let's welcome our judges to the stage. Our first judge is Abinaya, I'm sorry about that, Abinaya Kanandru, and she will come to the stage. Now, she is a principal at M25 Ventures, where she focuses on Midwest based pre-seed and seed stage investments. She joined the fund in 2017, and she spearheads the team's outbound efforts along with leading deals and working with portfolio companies. Now, in addition to investing, Abinaya brings the Chicago community together. She's one of our connectors through both large 300 plus person events and small 5-person dinners. And so she also runs a text group where over 280 people weekly receive updates about events going on in Chicago's tech ecosystem. So, Abinaya, thank you for being here today. Our next judge today is Savannah Green. Now, Savannah joined Workday Ventures in 2020. She is a principal on the investing team. Before joining Workday, Savannah was at Attention Capital, which is a New York-based firm that invests in media and technology, as well as Plexo Capital. Now, Savannah formerly worked at Evercore Partners on the investment tech banking team, where she assessed and analyzed M&A and growth opportunities. So, Savannah, thank you for being here today. Our final judge today is Phil Leslie. Now, Phil is a partner at Workbox Ventures. He focuses on the future of work startups, so perfect for our competition today. Previously, Phil grew and sold 2 B2B SaaS companies focused on disrupting the legacy systems and business workflows. Phil is a graduate of Purdue Computer Science. He's a Boilermaker, and he's also a graduate of Chicago Booth School of Business. So, thank you to our judges. And with no further ado, let me bring our first founder, our first competitor to the stage. I would like to bring to the stage Othniel Olorundara. So Othniel, please come to the stage and we'll let you know when we can see your screen and see you. All right. We see your screen. All right. The stage is yours.
Good morning, and this is Eventlyspace, a one-stop gig model event planning marketplace, bringing your vision to life. Now, I'm sure a lot of us have either planned a wedding or event or have been in contact with someone who has, and this is how the process usually goes. You meet the love of your life, you date for a little while, you get engaged, but now it's time to plan for the wedding. For the next 12 to 18 months, your job has become to be an event planner. You have to find event decorators that don't see your vision, photographers that your friends and family suggested, DJs that you don't quite like their music, and event venues that are always booked for the dates of your wedding. That's where Evently comes in. We reduce the time, effort, costs, and improve the quality, all associated with event planning. We're not just a wedding shop. We also do birthday parties, graduations, corporate events, and small to medium-sized concerts as well, and many more. How do we do this? We provide an open marketplace that allows vendors to showcase their portfolio of work to potential planners and event organizers. We also provide an event planning request form that allows clients and event organizers to directly request for vendors on our platform. Using this information, we could go out and find vendors if we don't already have them on the platform. However, if we do have them on our platform, we provide a bidding service where vendors can directly bid on the requests made by clients, and they can send over their portfolio as well as the price matching the budget of the event planners. Compared to our competitors, we provide an enterprise and customer solution. We're not limited to just one event category. We have a do-it-for-me service. We also have a community building aspect to our business. Our go-to-market strategy has been to make partnerships with event organizer businesses, providing incentive programs for referrals for vendors and customers, providing event inspiration as well as typical social media outreach ventures, and providing community engagements through sponsored events and hosting events to further promote our brand awareness. Our revenue model is to charge a small booking fee on every booking made on the platform, as well as providing a subscription service to include featured listings on our website, lower commission rates, and priority quote visibility to customers. We plan to deploy the $25,000 from this competition by finalizing our MVP, deploying Android and iOS apps, expanding our vendor base to 500 plus across 3 cities, and sponsor and host community events like I mentioned previously. Our long-term goal is to increase the accessibility, reduce the costs, reduce the time, increasing the quality of services rendered, and most importantly, to provide career growth opportunities to younger and smaller businesses to grow and enter into the event planning industry successfully. Our team of founders are very, very smart and technical people who have experience in IT, product management, cybersecurity, web and app development, as well as have planned large-scale events, event photography like myself, and community building. Thank you for listening. This is Eventlyspace.
Nice job, Othniel. Very nice job. All right, now I'd like our judges to come to the screen. All come on, and we'll have some Q&A. So on my screen here, we'll start with Phil.
Great presentation. Really enjoyed it. On the time, effort, and cost factors, if you can win on all 3 of those, that's amazing. But which of those 3 do you think is the most dominant one that really is the pivotal factor in winning the initial customers for this business?
The main thing is time, because usually the event planning process takes a lot of time and usually months to weeks, depending on the size of the event. And that is typically due to the fact that you have to reach out to multiple vendors, get quotes, make sure they're available for the date of the event. And that is inherently the solution that we're providing to Evently.
Now, Abinaya, please, your turn.
Hey, great job on the pitch as well. My question kind of goes back to the type of solution that you're going after. If I'm hearing correctly, the pain point is it's hard to manage everything all together. Is your solution focused more on marketplace where you can find everyone in the same place, or are you building a project management tool to manage even if the services are not part of the marketplace?
So it's kind of two-sided. So we're providing that one solution where you can find all the vendors that you require for your events, as well as providing that like backend for the event planners to showcase their portfolio, as well as managing like their calendar and budgets that the vendors are requesting.
Great, Savannah.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Really enjoyed the pitch. So given it's a two-sided marketplace and you kind of have to think about acquiring both consumers and then the event planners, I guess, can you just spend a little bit more kind of talking about each of those go-to-market strategies?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So in terms of finding the vendors, we've found that bringing vendors to a platform that is inherently empty, since we're still a very new venture, has been difficult. However, we found success in one, finding the clients first, knowing what the clients want, like the description I said before, and then using that data to go out and seek vendors. And we found that from one service request, we could bring over 10 to 20 vendors to the platform, and that kind of gets the ball rolling for us.
Great. We have more time, so we have time for a couple more questions.
In all the different event categories that you have in your capabilities, do each of those require a different sort of marketing effort to cater to each of those audiences? Or how does that work?
So yes, typically it would. That's kind of what gives us the range to be as big as we want to be. So for photographers versus event venues usually you want to showcase how you could decorate your event venue, what type of facilities come with the venue, if you could BYOB or they have bar staff on staff. And at the same time, for photographers, they want to showcase their range of events, from maybe weddings to corporate events to smaller scale events. So we have the marketing opportunity for pretty much every single category in our marketplace.
All right. Oh, go ahead. I mean,
how close are you to building out the MVP, or what stage are you at in building?
So we technically do have a functional MVP. There's just some little bugs here and there. So technically we could go to market immediately. We are already onboarding 20 plus vendors to our platform already. So that side of the marketplace is already complete.
Well, Othniel, we have about 20 seconds left. Do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to leave with our judges?
Please consider me to win. Thank you so much for your time. And it was a pleasure.
All right. Thank you, Othniel. Appreciate you and the work that you're doing. All right. So we're all going to go camera off. And now we're going to welcome our next founder to the stage, Tamika Vantifflin. All right, Tamika, we see your slides. And now we see you. So the floor is yours.
All right. Hold on one sec. Imagine waking up.
Sorry, Tamika, we're not actually seeing the full slides. It's that same thing that was happening earlier.
Oh, can you see now?
Now we're on slide 2. Yep, thank you.
Okay. Imagine waking up disoriented and confused after a seizure, only to realize that you are being sexually assaulted and unable to communicate with emergency responders. Imagine the terror, helplessness, and frustration. This happened to my twin sister. This was a nightmare that left us feeling powerless, heartbroken, and quite honestly, pissed off. As her loved one, I couldn't protect her, and that was a painful realization. Unfortunately, my sister's story is not unique. Countless individuals and loved ones face communication challenges in crisis situations or emergency situations daily, rendering them unable to seek assistance effectively. Think about scenarios where verbal communication is challenging, such as after experiencing a medical emergency, having a disability, traveling alone in an unfamiliar area, dangerous encounters, or even facing a language barrier. These are moments where seconds count and every moment lost has dire consequences. In fact, the addressable market is a $433 billion opportunity to make change. And that's where Aegis comes in. Aegis is a personal safety mobile application that modernizes the way we interact with 911. Our mobile app provides a lifeline for individuals facing communication challenges while seeking assistance in crisis situations. So, how does Aegis solve this problem? We streamline the 911 interaction process. Our app offers a range of features designed to ensure quick and effective communication with emergency personnel. With just a tap of a button within our Aegis application and a selection of a situational prompt, your personal profile, including medical information, real-time GPS tracking and location, and audio and video recording capabilities is transmitted to our partnered monitoring company. They, in turn, dispatch the correct emergency personnel, offering safety in seconds. No need for verbal communication or struggling to explain your situation. Aegis makes it simple and efficient. The public safety market is vast, yet the 911 system remains unchanged. At Aegis, we're different. Through extensive research and user feedback, we've embraced a human-centric approach. By understanding real-life situations, we're addressing the needs of what truly matter. Our revenue model is a B2B SaaS. Aegis will be offered as an enrollment benefit. Think dental and medical. We'll have channel partners facilitating direct sales to universities, corporations, and law enforcement agencies, securing strategic paying partnerships. 100 users on our beta waitlist. Some of these testers include college students, law enforcement officials, real estate agencies, survivors of domestic violence. If you choose to fund Aegis with this $25,000, you will be helping us launch nationwide this September. Our team brings a wealth of expertise with over 20 years of combined experience in state, local, and federal law enforcement, as well as 10 years in tech startups. Safeguarding yourself and your loved one isn't just a responsibility. It's a powerful expression of love and protection. If my sister had Aegis, she would not have been one in 4 women that experience violence in their lifetime. Help us redefine personal safety and create a world where everyone has a lifeline at their fingertips. Thank you.
Good job, Tamika. Good job. Now we're going to ask if you, Tamika, will turn your screen off, your presentation off. We're going to ask our judges to come back on, and we're going to start the questions for Aegis with Abanaya.
Hey, Tamika, great job with the presentation. My question is around like how the delivery actually happens with the customer. Like, at what point are they using Aegis when they're in distress? Or is it somebody else that's using Aegis for them?
It's the user itself using Aegis. So to paint a picture, think of someone in a domestic violence situation. They're not going to be able to pick up a call and be like, hey, I'm being abused. With Aegis, how it would work is through the mobile application by tapping the button and selecting domestic violence. You can set your phone down and your personal profile and all that information would be transmitted to our partnered monitoring company, and then they dispatch the correct emergency personnel. So there's no verbal communication, and it's kind of like a covert or discreet manner.
Great. Savannah.
Yeah, thank you. And for bringing awareness to this as well. I guess my question is kind of how you're thinking about working with the police departments and kind of the healthcare system and kind of what that relationship looks like.
Yeah, so we will offer Aegis as an enrollment benefit. So their employees have the opportunity to enroll into Aegis, where the company will cover the cost. And when it comes to law enforcement front, my partner, he's got 20 plus years in the law enforcement sector, and he's done a tremendous job seeking law enforcement agencies here in the state of Illinois to be able to adopt Aegis, put it out to the community, while also utilizing it for themselves and their family.
Great. Phil.
Great presentation. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
For companies that look at this and say they would love to have this in their set of benefits, but that the way that they work is to pass some costs through to their employees, is that a customer that is still potentially a fit for you and that you need to persuade employees to opt in, or is that just not part of your initial target market?
Well, initial target market we would love for companies to, cover the cost for the employees, but to what you were saying, if there's companies that, would have their employees cover some of the cost, we would like to work with those companies and maybe negotiate a price. So it is affordable for their employees. One thing is personal safety shouldn't be a luxury. We want to offer it as a lifestyle. So for our users, so anyone could have an opportunity to feel safe and protected with Aegis.
Have time for another question.
What do you want to use the money from today?
Yes, the money would would be helping us launch this September. With this money, we'd be able to bring on an Android developer and be able to help put the app out to both Android and iOS, as well as use some funds to promote and market Aegis. We want to take a community approach with getting Aegis out and telling real stories, so anyone looking at Aegis can relate to a situation, or they may have a loved one that can relate to the situation.
Time for a quick question.
What is your biggest challenge that you see in this business?
Biggest challenge is really, I would say, just adapting the mindset of personal safety as a lifestyle. I feel we live in a world where it's, it won't happen until it happens to me. But being able to market that and get people familiar with that, I would say is our biggest challenge. I mean, personal safety and public safety is theirs. It's just kind of shifting the mindset.
All right. Thank you, Tamika. And now we're going to bring our next founder on the stage, and that would be Mr. Claoe Louie. Claoe from PINWRK. All right, Claoe, we can see your slides. Now we need to see you. All right, the floor is yours. Up, Claoe, you're on mute.
Over half the American workforce has spent time participating in the gig economy because they're unable to make ends meet. Hi, I'm Claoe Louie, and I'm excited to introduce you to PINWRK, a platform to optimize gig work. As immigrants, my parents did not have access to many opportunities to help them achieve the American dream. And so they focused on creating those opportunities for their children by finding employment as gig workers. But gig work has its drawbacks because schedule inefficiencies means that workers often spend more time commuting to work than working, which restrict their earnings, making it difficult to support families, and impacts work-life balance, making it difficult to care for families. The problem is geography. And in fact, workers commuting between customers' homes to perform short-term tasks can waste as much as 40% of billable time idle in commute. This increases their expense, reduces their availability to work, and reduces their ability to earn. That is why we created PINWRK, a mobile platform that helps in-home, short-term, on-demand workers optimize billable time by finding jobs that are clustered close together. We use AI, data analysis, and geolocation to help workers maximize time and earning efficiency, much like how Waze helps users to maximize commute efficiency. The way it works is simple. We incentivize users through our platform to hire workers already scheduled with jobs in the area by presenting them with better pricing. The more users hiring a worker within a specific geography on a particular day, the better the price offered to everyone hiring that person at that location. The result is that workers receive more jobs closely located, reducing commute time, reducing expense, and increasing availability to earn. The market size for the overall US gig economy is enormous and is only projected to grow. And with a serviceable market of $30.2 billion for short-term at-home services, we believe a significant market opportunity is available. We plan to leverage the $25,000 won from this competition to break into that market by onboarding 60,000 plus users onto our platform this year. And we aim to do so by investing in targeted app and Play Store ads, partnering with apartment community and property management offices to bring our solution to their residents, and by executing on a lead list of gig workers in the Chicago area. To generate revenue for the business, we plan to charge workers a commission fee on every transaction made through the platform, charge them a subscription fee to unlock features, and charge users a per-use fee for specific tools. And by growing our user base to 60,000 plus users over the next year, we believe that we can grow our monthly revenue to over 200,000 on a single vertical such as pet care. And that revenue will increase as we introduce new verticals to the platform. We are taking a new approach to the gig economy, and compared to the competition, we are the only platform that helps users save on every purchase. In addition to being the only platform that uses data analysis, AI, and geolocation to help workers optimize billable time, which helps them reduce expense, create more availability to earn, and ultimately earn more. And we have the right team to build this solution because as founder and CEO, I have over 14 years of experience building innovative software solutions for millions of customers, in addition to holding an MBA in entrepreneurship and a master's in product innovation. And my co-founder and COO, Dr. Delcoon, has over 30 years experience building tech solutions. My family story is not unique and is actually the story of many Americans from all walks of life. And with advancements in AI, automation, and robotics estimated to impact 300 million jobs globally this year, there are going to be many more families needing to rely on gig work in the near future. So please help me create an opportunity for the gig working families of America to reduce expense, earn more, and improve the path forward for future generations by transforming this space to bring convenience and efficiency to gig work. Thank you.
All right, Claoe, good job. Now we will bring our judges back to the stage, and we'll start this round of questioning with Savannah.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Really interesting. So if I saw that correctly, that last slide was kind of the priorities of type of gig work, kind of starting with pet care, and then moving into other types of work. How did you kind of choose those, kind of that prioritization roadmap?
Yeah, so we're focused on home-centric types of services, and we're looking for the lowest bar to entry, right? So we're primarily focused on metropolitan areas, downtown areas, areas of high concentration of population, and in that area tend to be a lot of pet lovers, a lot of individuals who care about their little ones. So we thought that would have been the easiest market to break into. It also lowers the bar to entry on a number of other aspects, such as the level of years of experience that might require in terms of the quality of workers that we want to have on our platform.
Phil.
In your effort to stand up both sides of this two-sided market, the demand for jobs and then the gig workers to fulfill them, on the demand for jobs side, are you leaning on other platforms that already have jobs listed, or are you organically attracting job postings?
So we're connecting workers with individuals seeking their services. So we're not posting jobs, right? But we are taking an approach of standing something new up, in addition to also on our roadmap, creating an opportunity to integrate into other platforms, specifically because we have an interest in focusing on multi-unit families. Multi-unit family buildings, and we believe that we can integrate into existing systems so that we can expand our reach a lot faster rather than taking the individual approach.
What incentive does the user asking for the job or need somebody to do something for them? What incentive do they have to be on the platform outside of saving few dollars?
Well, we're saving them money and time with very little to no effort, right? So that's where we go with it. A typical in currently experience, anyone trying to use a platform would maybe if they want to get save a few dollars, they would have to go through the emails and check for 10% off, 20% off, all of that stuff, right? So that wastes their time, right? In order to just get a little bit of savings. With our platform, we differentiate because you hire anyone that you want at market rate, and if anyone within a certain geographical sphere also hires that person, you automatically benefit. So we're actually building network effect into our application, and it requires the user to do nothing at all to benefit from it.
as you're building out the platform to see these benefits, you need a lot of people on the app. So given that you're focused on the pet space or pet industry, how are you tackling to get users on both sides of the marketplace?
So the pet industry is just our initial market, right? We build a platform to take advantage of all a number of different markets. We're building a mutually beneficial ecosystem, so it benefits anyone on that platform to then also. So we're using a community-based approach. We benefit anyone on that platform to also tell their neighbors about the application, right? Because they're all going to benefit from it, and we also built it in a way to incentivize workers to sort of transition their current clientele onto this platform and encourage that clientele to also spread our product to their sphere of influence and their customers. So we built it in a way that helps us get over a lot of network effect issues that other platforms have.
All right, Claoe. Good timing. Thank you, judges. And now I would like to bring our next founder to the stage, Ismael El-Amin with the PiggyBack Network. All right, Ismael, we can see you and your screen, so your slides, so the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. A few weeks ago, I received an email from a friend of mine, Chris. Both of our children attend fourth grade together at their school, and they also attend the same dance class every Thursday. Chris felt terrible reaching out to me, but he had a work commitment and he wasn't able to take his son to practice. And he asked me if I could bring his son to practice along with my daughter. Twice in that email, he stated that he really felt bad asking, and that carries a cost. Chris and I are two of 42 million Americans who commute every day to get our children back and forth to school after school activities, representing a $30 billion business that currently has no marketplace, and we plan to build it. PiggyBack solution matches parents and guardians who regularly drive with other local driving families who already drive the same routes. Our platform background checks the drivers and then matches the members who have overlapping profiles. Those members then meet with each other in person, do a screening, and once both sides approve, they start scheduling their affordable rides as needed, just like Chris contacting me to cover his work commitment conflict. Our early adopter persona sits on both sides of our marketplace. They're parents that have 2 or more children between 6 and 12 years old. There's multiple drivers in the household, and their work commitment consists of a mix of flexible hours, fixed hours, second or third shift, first responders, traveling duties such as flight attendants, and the ever popular post-COVID remote working workforce situation. These families attend charter schools, magnet schools, where sometimes the bus is not an option for their children. And they are also very involved in youth sports, a lot of times involving themselves because the children need to be at an activity after school while the parent is still working. PiggyBack will meet these families not only where they are, but where they intend to go into the future. With only 10% market penetration of these 3 sectors, we would have a revenue in the $2.8 billion range. The team behind this forecast is myself, co-founder and CEO, as well as my Princeton football teammate, Donald Scott II. We both earned electrical engineers there, and we both have 20 years of corporate experience behind us. But most importantly, we're both raising families. I've got 4 children of my own, and Donald's raising 3. We're proud to have the YMCA of Metro Chicago as a partner with us as we build this out. Trust is a major issue for us, and they've been able to work with us to get our name out to their families that are attending their summer camps. With the use of funds, we plan on hiring customer support to handle some of these pilot users, and with the remainder, start our process to build out a mobile application. My youngest turns 1 today. She's 1 year old, and our vision is that children like herself will envision, our vision is that children like herself will live in a planet where families have transportation access to the schools and activities that best suit them. And our vision for their parents is that they will be able to continue to work the jobs that they have while they're supporting their children without having to have any sacrifice. We hope you can help us get there. Thank you.
All right, Ismael, thank you. Happy birthday to your youngest. So if you will go off, if you will take your presentation off screen, we can start this round of judging. And we're going to kick this one off with Phil.
Thanks for the presentation.
Thanks.
I think in these two-sided marketplaces, one of the biggest challenges is when you're getting started, making sure that when someone signs onto the platform, that they get a match quickly, that's successful, that they're happy about, so that they'll sign in again and use it again. And that's especially hard when you're just getting started building both sides of the marketplace. What's sort of your strategy to help those initial matches be a real success?
So if you would have said that 3 years ago, I would have appreciated it. It took us a while to get to the point where we are now. We engaged organizations like the YMCA. We talked to charter schools because we wanted to focus in on one location. And while we're not necessarily B2B, we understand that those overlapping routes initially is what's going to bring the people in. So our focus with the YMCA is 2 locations here in Chicago where we know there's 300 families each that are making the same drop off. And these families sometimes know each other. So we're really focusing on getting the marketing straight to them so that they can experience it. And then it becomes kind of a butterfly effect once everything is positive.
Great, Abinaya.
What does critical mass look like with the platform uses? Is it the number of YMCAs or number of parents, number of students? Like, how do you describe what your critical mass is?
Sure. So once we take the training wheels off, we really don't need to approach the facilities anymore because now parents have us in their back pocket. They know the last time I started a sport, I was new meeting parents, new meeting families. I went to PiggyBack, found the 2 families that I really needed to know. So now that becomes sort of the thing to do once you enter a new school, once your child graduates, once families relocate, whatever's going on, any change of life, you come back to PiggyBack, find out who the important people you are to know, and then you proceed from there.
Thank you, Savannah.
I think you just kind of started to go there, but I'm wondering, how do you kind of think about stickiness with the platform? So kind of what kind of prevents users from joining, matching with a family, and then kind of not needing the platform?
Certainly. And we get this question a lot. So during COVID, I had a cleaning service coming by the house and they would send 1 of 3 people that worked our neighborhood. Eventually, one of the cleaners would kind of slide us his card and say, I do this off the clock if you guys want to work with me. And we took him up on it. He was charging less, but he started skipping sessions, showing up late, playing us off where he would do some of us and then go to a paid gig. That reliability through the service wasn't there. And eventually he stopped coming altogether. What we're thinking for parents is that if they have a great experience, meet someone that they want to do something on the side, that's amazing. But then their life's going to change again. And we hope that they come back to us to find someone else to work with. And we're not going to save them all. We're not going to grab them all. But we know there's going to be the people, just like my friend Chris, he's known me for 5 years, but it's really awkward for a parent to reach out and say, hey, can you take some of this burden off my shoulder? And we know those parents are out there.
We got time for another one.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you to talk for a second about the business model.
Sure. So a revenue model is all that the parents will be charged based on per ride. There's no subscription model. So some families that have a season where the kid needs to go 5 nights a week, they'd be paying for each of those rides they need. If they go dormant for 2 months, they don't have to spend anything. Both sides can initiate. The driver that's offering can initiate and say, hey, I'm making the drive Thursday. Do you need a ride? Or the requesting family can say, hey, I need a ride on Thursday. Are you driving? And then they'd have the ability to say yes or no. Once they approve the ride, the credits come into the driver's system. Credits come out of the requester's system. So that points are recycled through the system.
Perfect timing on that Q&A. Thank you again, Ismael. So we would like to welcome our final founder in this competition to the stage. We'd like to welcome Vielka to the stage. Robert, I see you. If you could go off camera, we're about to talk to you in a few minutes. Vielka. Can you hear us, Vielka?
Yes. Yeah. Ready.
All right. We see your slides. We see you. When Robert goes off camera, we will start your pitch.
Oh, got it.
All right, the floor is yours.
So my name is Vielka. I'm the founder of Bridge. We're currently going through a rebrand. So Bridge to College is becoming Bridge. I started teaching and studying education in 1995. I've taught around the world and across the US. In 2003, I began graduate study in sociology, African American studies, and machine learning. My work bridges social science and computer science. This is important because social sciences need each other, but they aren't friends. While social science tells us how everyone is unique and different, computer science tools such as machine learning don't account for those differences. This leads to bias in machine learning. Today, we use machine learning to predict nearly every behavior through actions: shopping, texting, crime, what you'll look like in 50 years. Some are actions that you might not do, but we make a prediction anyway because we're making guesses. But the only action that we know every budding adult will do is get a job based on how they interact with the college admissions process. Yet 75% of students are excluded from this process, meaning we're making bad guesses based on biased data. That means that we're making it really difficult for 75% of the population to live their authentic lives. This is mostly for two reasons. First, it suffers from the loudest kid in the classroom syndrome, meaning we only pay attention to what the loudest kid wants, thinking that's what everyone wants. Second, this data is historical, meaning it only knows to predict things that already happened, not something that could happen if certain circumstances change. So if we're not collecting data on those circumstances that created the trend, we will never know what could be. Meet Christine. She's a college admissions officer at a low brand ID college. If she can't find those 75% of students, her college will close. Christine isn't alone. 99% of colleges rely on admitting excluded students. But Christine knows that the old data won't get her to these students. She wants to know if being in Texas will impact the students' decisions, or if the student health center, health clinic is sufficient for trans students, or if students will find community on her campus. All the things that will lead to a student enrolling at her school. Lots of people want to know this. That's the world we're living in. That means solving Christine's problem solves a problem for anyone interested in unbiased data about young people. Meet Bridge. Bridge is a SaaS platform that uses machine learning and deep social insights to match students to colleges that are an academic, financial, and social fit. Students learn about colleges, colleges learn about students, and we learn about them, what they're doing, and why they're doing it. This was created by a team of sociologists, educators, and data scientists. That means if a kid did it, we can point to the institution, the schooling, and the data involved in that decision. We first created a set of algorithms using a unique data collection method. Next, we collected more data based on the interactions in our direct-to-consumer service. Then we created a platform that provides insights about those kiddos. We earn revenue by the number of students and features on the platform. We have a few thousand students on the platform currently, with 800,000 students and 150 colleges on a waiting list. We are currently doing 40,000 MRR between our direct-to-consumer service and paid pilot. We have 4 million ARR pending from college contracts and another 24 million in the later stages of our sales pipeline. With 12 million students and 20,000 high schools each year considered to be underserved, our market is quite large, especially when we include the market for unbiased AI data. With the $25,000 in prize money, we can complete the build of the student dashboards to onboard the 800,000 students at the start of this school year. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And now let's bring our judges back to the stage for some Q&A. And this round, we're going to start with Othniel.
Great job with the pitch. I would love to know a little bit more about any feedback that you've gotten so far with the folks that you worked with.
The students, high schools or colleges?
Yes.
Generally, and I'm not just saying this, we get really positive feedback. I even call our sales pitch the sort of Jerry Maguire, you had us at hello. I think all of the schools intimately know the problem, and this is why we intentionally offer the solution to high schools and students for free. Unlike our competitors, we want them to get on there, get their matches, learn, and not be sort of in the way of or the price getting in the way. So generally, and we also went first to Title I high school, so high schools that have a majority of students on free or reduced lunch. So they generally the feedback is, where have you been? Like, thank you so much. Or, we haven't had a solution, or sometimes they haven't even heard of our competitors, but we haven't had a solution that accounts for social fit in this way or finances in this way. The other thing when we talk about like social fit, when our competitors say it, they mean stuff like dorm food or, the football team. Like, we're talking about actual social hierarchy things that families are concerned about. So they're usually pretty grateful when we come along.
All right, Savannah.
Great. Yeah, really, really interesting. Such an important problem. I was wondering, you mentioned kind of briefly competition. Who else is doing this, and how do you differentiate?
Yeah. Can I share my slides again by any chance?
If you can bring it up really quickly.
Yes, I can do it fast. So our biggest competitors, I would say, are College Board, Naviance, and CapEx. The biggest difference between us and all three of these is we, like I said, don't monetize the student side. All of them are monetizing the student side, which means they're reducing the number of students that they're getting, and therefore reducing the amount of data. And in that case, for the type of colleges that we're talking about, then they don't typically have the students who are interested in going. I would say the other difference, so with Naviance, for example, Naviance uses about 3 data points. We use a few thousand. And I think the last difference is we can make our data available to different industries that also support college access. And for the most part, these organizations are monetizing either students or colleges or high schools, not looking outside of that space.
All right, Phil.
In sales conversations with colleges, is this something where they already have money set aside to work on this type of challenge and they choose to allocate it to you? Or is it something where they find the money because it's so important? Or is it just some discretionary money that they are just able to spend because in the moment they realize this is important and it's a small enough dollar amount? How does that kind of dynamic work?
Yeah, so we typically the schools do allocate some amount of money to marketing and retention and recruitment that we're able to tap into, but we just have to be sort of strategic about when we ask them for it before they've allocated it. A lot of these schools that came on the waiting list had allocated money to go visit campuses, but due to the pandemic, or students in high school, but due to the pandemic, they weren't doing that, and so we took that money. But for the most part, we're sticking in a budget that they've already set aside for marketing and retention.
All right, great timing. Thank you, Vielka. Thank you, judges. So now that's all 5 of our founders for this week. We are going to ask the judges to go and engage in the unenviable task of selecting one winner out of these fantastic founders today. And so while the judges are deliberating, I'd like to bring to the stage our guest for this week, none other than Mr. Robert Blackwell Jr. For those who don't know Robert, he is the founder and chairman of KillerSpin, which is a world leader in premium table tennis. He is also a dedicated Chicagoan. He's done a lot of civic ventures and sits on a lot of civic bodies and committees and boards here in the Chicagoland area. He is a mathematician by trade, so I'm sure he enjoyed. He resonated with that last pitch talking about machine learning and algorithms. And finally, Robert is a fellow member of the Business Leadership Council. So, Robert, thank you for coming on our stage today and talking about kind of your, just briefly talking about your journey in entrepreneurship. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thanks so much for having me. And listen, good luck to everybody. So maybe I'll just maybe take about 2 minutes and give my background and then leave it. Then I'll just open it up for questions if that works for you.
Sure. Sounds good.
So I was born in Philadelphia in 1960 and grew up in Wichita, Kansas. And luckily for me, I was born to two really great parents that had what I call no dough. So they just gave me a set of rules and say, if you follow these rules, you can do whatever you want. Pardon me. So I had my first business when I was 8 years old. I used to sell bubble gum in school because people would, at that time, they would go out for recess, go to the candy store, and if you got back late, the teachers could hit you. So I figure I would trade kind of my time for their money, and I would go and buy. And during the day, I would be selling this bubble gum. That went really well. And kind of growing up in Wichita, Kansas, I only lived around Black people. So I lived under segregation, moved to Chicago in 1973 when I was 12. My father got transferred by IBM, moved into the western suburbs because we didn't know anything about Chicago, city called Lombard. We were the first Black family there. I had a bomb thrown in my house and "nigger go home" written on our lawn. So that wasn't a lot of fun. But I had this suspicion that white people like bubblegum too. So I started to sell bubblegum in school, and they were buying so much gum that that they didn't have enough money to buy ice cream from the school. So I ended up making a deal to sell my gum and the ice cream for the school. So I always really liked kind of being in control of my own destiny. And I was, frankly, always trying to figure out how to make money. I had my own lottery when I was 12 years old. I didn't know that was against the law.
Well, you've clearly been an entrepreneur all your life. I mean, I know about what you're doing at Killer Spin, but you also have another venture, Aliyah. So talk about what drives what drives not only your fascination, but your desire to pursue entrepreneurship? What is it the economic freedom? What is it about entrepreneurship that really drives you?
Well, I can kind of tell you, one is I just want to be in control of my own destiny. That's one. In fact, when I was 24, I wrote a paper on trading theory, and I gave it to my father. And he said, "Listen, I got to tell you two things." He said, "Number one, you don't know how to write." And he said, "Number two, do you know the difference between being eccentric and weird?" He said, "When you get to be rich, you'll be eccentric. Right now, you're weird. So you know that nobody's ever going to hire you. So you better figure out how to have your own company." And that was good advice. So I've essentially, I think, worked most of my life for myself because I kind of consider myself an unemployable math misfit. I don't think I would be a good employee for anybody. So, but I would say the things that drive me are, number one, to be the best in the world at something. And that's one of the things that I think are criteria for being a good entrepreneur. You have to figure out what you have the potential to be the best at the world at. What really drives your passions? I mean, you sleep. I work while I'm sleeping. And then number three, how you're going to make money. So I would say me being an entrepreneur, I'm not so sure that I had any other options.
Well, I alluded to the fact that you are, not only are you a serial entrepreneur, you founded a number of ventures, but you're also active civically. Some people think those are kind of oxymorons, because you're spending all your time on the business, you don't have time to do anything civically. But talk about how you're able to not to integrate your civic participation with your business entrepreneurship.
Well, what I believe is that we owe it to those that came before us to do something for those that are going to come after us. I've been helped by a lot of people. I mean, my parents, obviously, but there are people that in my parents and grandparents and great-grandparents' generation that were talented that didn't have the same opportunities that I have, or, frankly, those that are coming behind me. So we've got some obligation to create a pathway that creates opportunities for our people. So that's one of the things that's always kind of driven me. And I think that the best way to address the issues we have in society is through entrepreneurial-led economic activity. That leads to the appreciation of education and social capital. Social capital is when you reach back and you pull people from your community along. But more importantly, you create this aspirational roadmap so your young people know where to place their bets. So I don't take for granted that, frankly, that somebody like me of, I would call limited talent and IQ can have some measure of success. And I do think that, in fact, I have people in my own family, cousins that I think are very smart, that didn't have the same opportunities as me. So I do think it is our responsibility to create a pathway of opportunity for our people. It'll not only help us address the situation we have, but it'll make the whole country better, in my view.
Yes, yes. Being very modest, talking about your limited talent, but I definitely agree and resonate with your thesis about how you have to give back, because there is an obligation for those of us. We only have time for one more question. I mentioned Killer Spin, but tell us what's the late. Give us your 30-second to a minute. Talk on Killer Spin. What's the latest and greatest there? What is it?
Well, Killer Spin is a table tennis experience company. And what it does really is it connects people to the people that they love and that need their love through break time play. So we're kind of the leader in the world in that space. But I think business in general is about solving a problem for a customer that they're willing to pay for. And it has to be either an emotional or financial problem. So for the most part, Killer Spin was a way for me to connect with people that I didn't know. But why everybody knew, I really started because everybody in the world knows table tennis, but nobody could name the name of a brand. And I said, Black people don't own anything in sports. So therefore, I wanted to do that for those two reasons.
Nice. Well, you've how long have you run Killer Spin? Killer Spin's been what? How many years now?
I started EKI Digital in 1998, and then Killer Spin in 2001.
Wow. So you are an example of an entrepreneur that's not only launched but grown and sustained an entity. So you are an example of what our TechRise founders aspire to do. And sometimes it's not the first, not the second. So you keep founding, you keep building, you keep grinding, and you're a great role model for that. So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule today. Ironically, on this, or not, I'd say purposefully, on this Juneteenth commemoration weekend. So thanks for coming. It's good to see you. I look forward to seeing you at the next BLC function. So thanks, Robert.
Terrific. All right, guys. Good luck, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. And actually, Robert, we're about to, if you have time, we're waiting on our judges to come out of our deliberation room. We're about to announce our winner for today. If you have time to stay with us.
I actually have a 1 o'clock call, so I have another minute.
All right. Well, I see our judges are coming back. I see Savannah. So I'm going to ask all the founders, everyone, to come back on screen. And which of our judges is going to announce our winner today?
That would be me.
All right, Savannah, the floor is yours.
Great. Well, first of all, we wanted to say congrats to all the founders. We really enjoyed all of the presentations and all the time that you put into it. And we're really excited to track all of your journeys. So thank you so much. I'm going to start by announcing the runner-up. The runner-up does not receive any funding today, but will be in the running for the finale. And so the runner-up is Ismael with PiggyBack. Really, really enjoyed that one. So thank you. And then I guess to the to the final decision. Yeah, we really loved this one, really impressed kind of by what they've done so far and by the vision as well. And so we'd like to congratulate Vielka with Bridge on winning this competition. So well done.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Awesome, thank you.
We only have about 30 seconds left, but any words, anything you'd like to say?
Let's go. Like, I'm so excited. This is great. And let's get some kids through college. I think it's spectacular.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you to all of our founders. You all did a fantastic job. Our founder ecosystem is strong with founders like you. Thank you for our judges. You ask wonderful and insightful questions, and we can't have a competition without judges. So thank you for spending your time and expertise here today. TechRise is not a one and done. So even if you did not win today, you have the ability to come back on the stage. That's number one. Number two, anyone who is part of our ecosystem and part of our TechRise family, you have the opportunity to participate in workshops and other events that we have throughout the year. And as Savannah mentioned, it is important because our top two are automatically in the running for the playoffs, what we call the playoffs, for the grand finale, where at the end of the year, we will award a $100,000 prize. So on behalf of my colleagues at Verizon and on behalf of the team at P33, thank you so much for coming. Enjoy your weekend.